Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to our very first AutoMarket. Welcome. So for this podcast, we're going to focus solely around Chinese cars.
The brands that we're seeing over here at the moment are sort of the middle and, dare I say, lower end Chinese brands. And actually the luxury market hasn't yet hit us.
In terms of what do you think is the fundamental reason that people are making this shit? Is it the cost?
I mean, I don't think it is the uniqueness.
High five! High five! I like you!
Sold 25 million units last year. A friend of mine bought a JLR X70 Plus, I think it was.
Still your friend?
He's no longer my friend, after he told me that. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome to our very first AutoMarket. Welcome to our very first AutoMarket podcast. We haven't done this before, so I have no idea how it's going to go. I'm actually quite scared how this could turn out, but anyway. So thank you for coming. I'll introduce you both as guests that have come on, the very first guests that we found outside that can come and join us on our first podcast. We have Oms here in the white corner, weighing in 1,000... Sorry.
Charming, it's good that you're
and we've got Sabir here. Thank you again for joining. Both petrol heads.
Weighing in at all.
Not what, sorry?
Not weighing in at all.
No, he doesn't weigh nothing, that's why. Weighing in at 5 pence. So, yeah, so just for all the listeners, I think it'd probably be useful to kind of know a little bit about you both. I know you both are petrol heads, you're into your cars. I've known you guys for a number of years, and you have a nice collection of cars, some not so good cars as well, but but some good cars as well. And I think if someone also said to me, oh, you know what, I met Oms, and you know, what do you think of him? I'd be like, oh yeah, this guy's great. He's the kind of guy that would probably phone you up and say, are you flying back from London? Yeah. Have you got space in your luggage for a gearbox? Is the way I would probably describe Oms. And for
accurate.
Be quite. And for Sabir, I'd probably be like, if I buy 2 Porsches, will the wife not work out they're 2 and think they're 1 car?
If they're the same colour.
If they're the same colour, exactly. That's Sabir. So, Sabir also is the kind of guy who basically thinks a daily driver is a GT4, a manual GT4 that he can fall into. I don't know anybody who'd kind of think that's a good car choice.
It's a perfect daily driver. Really is.
Not space for your pack plan?
That's what I need.
That's what, yeah. Man. I'm surprised for a guy, you know, as tall as you are, because I struggle to get in it, and I'm probably the shortest guys in our circle of friends.
You are.
Thanks, Obs. Right, so today, this podcast, we're going to dive into talking about a topic that is asked a lot in the UAE. We've actually had some researchers who's kind of looked at what's trending, what people are talking about. So for this podcast, we're going to focus solely around Chinese cars. So I think I don't know about you, but I think it's quite a good topic, especially we're seeing more and more of them on the road. Before we start, I did our wonderful market researcher has got some info for us. So we've had a look at a few things around them, some stats around them, and some of them actually quite really interesting, actually. So there's some official vehicle data that they've pulled around about the brands. There's a lot of brands out. Currently, there is 150 active Chinese brands. 150. 97 of them are actual just Chinese-owned brands, and 43 of them are joint ventures with other companies, which is it's insane, right? And 58% of the Chinese car brands are less than 10 years old.
Wow.
Really?
It's insane, right?
Do we know how many of those 150 brands are currently in the UAE? It feels like there's a lot of them coming through, but it feels like still almost.
I think we don't know how many that are actually in the UAE at present, but we're seeing more and more, and it's to the point where I don't know if you both see this, but where you kind of see a car and you're like,
what is that?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Never. Yes, no, absolutely.
Never seen before. So, but I feel like this is a UAE thing at present. I don't know. Have you guys seen it in like when you've been travelling to other countries or?
I haven't come across it too much back in the UK. I know Saudi's a big market for Chinese cars. So my friends over there are saying they're seeing more and more from the roads. Maybe it's the GCC thing at the moment before it expands over to other parts of the world. But yeah, certainly it seems like the last couple of years.
No, I'm sure.
Absolutely huge influx.
No, it's exploded, right? And but I think to that point, the UAE is always going to be first to market on a lot of these things. And certainly, I mean, the number of new cars I've seen on the road, no idea what they are. Look amazing, some of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right? So, I think we're just going to continue seeing that until... And I think people are buying off the back of that because it piques their interest. Seeing something on the road, looks new, looks different. Go research it, find out a bit more, find out who's sourcing it. But what I remember reading as well, so I've also been doing research with my 16-year-old assistant on cars, and apparently...
Paid assistant or...
Of course. In Karak.
Okay.
But I think the brands that we're seeing over here at the moment are sort of the middle, and dare I say, lower-end Chinese brands. And actually the luxury market hasn't yet hit us. And that would be very interesting, especially being Dubai, a number of us having interest in some of the market cars. So this will be interesting to see what they come up with and what they bring across and how it competes with the clubs and enthusiasts.
Yeah, certainly. It's an interesting one with the Chinese brands there at the moment. And I remember we spoke about this a while ago when you were saying about the luxury end of the Chinese market. And it almost feels like, where do Chinese cars fit within the existing, not quite hierarchy, but every car and every brand has a sort of a part to play in the market. And what is the place? What is where do those Chinese brands fit within that? Yeah. Is it really going to be that luxury end that the Chinese brands can then take a piece of, or is it going to be the slightly more utilitarian or the slightly more everyday and practical cars? And what is that part that they're at play? So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out when those luxury brands are going to come over, because one of the biggest advantages of the Chinese brands is, of course, the price point.
Yeah.
And when you certainly come into a new market, you've got to be competitive in price, and it's not. As I said, we're very spoiled with luxury brands in Dubai. Do you really come into a market like this and try and take market share from these people and try and compete on luxury and quality, or do you go with something a little bit different, which is similar levels of quality and comfort, but at a much more a price point, which is what everyone seems to be moving toward?
It's quite interesting you say that, because in Dubai, you're right, there's the luxury segment, I feel like anyway, compared to travelling around sort of the world, the luxury segment here seems to be a bigger percentage. Like when you look at the cars that are on the road, you see a higher end of luxury cars here than even for London. When you go to London, you don't see, even in the States, you don't do it. Obviously depends where you go. And I recently saw a couple of sort of luxury cars, Chinese luxury cars. And when I first saw it, I kind of thought, it's a bit like, when Kia go into their first kind of, we're going to try and do a luxury car, and then you get in the car and you're like, what the hell is this? You call this luxury, but I was like really impressed. Like the leather was actually soft, and I was expecting it to be like, you get the fake leather, you get them taxis where you get in and you see the seat.
You stand up.
Yeah. You're like, what's this?
You walk out with the seat.
Yes. Excuse me, sir. So, but I was really impressed with them. And do you know what? It's funny you say that. With 150 brands already out, there's going to be a luxury segment. But do you know what? I think that's going to be a big shock, I feel like, anyway, to the ecosystem of all the other industry. And I say that from I owned a Kia at one point, right? I owned a Kia Sportage. You guys both seen it, I think, right? And Kia, as they developed, they started off at one point, and they were like the industry didn't care. They're like, it's just a Kia. It was price cheap. It wasn't that great. They've evolved, them and Hyundai have evolved to the point now. I mean, when we bought our Kia, I went and drove all the different kind of car brands and everything, and for price point and for quality, it couldn't be touched. It is so.
I mean, look, I think at the moment, the market is very much about you can't go wrong. At this price point, with the level of quality, the toys that you get in, it's appealing to sort of the common sense consumer, right? And from that perspective, that's what we'll build. Like you said, the luxury element of it will be very interesting. And I'll refer back to a personal example, which is we saw one of these, which is the Oni H9. I think it's pronounced as
the what?
Is that wrong? Yeah, there's not the official pronunciation. That's the official pronunciation.
Okay.
Can we get your researcher to check?
Yeah, we'll get a researcher. Can you?
Can you Google Translate?
I don't know. Is it appropriate for a 16-year-old to be a?
I haven't endorsed this.
However, I was with my wife.
Yeah.
And it went past us, and it fundamentally looks very similar to a Rolls Royce type of model. And it was nighttime; the lights were on. So it looked pretty good, very impressive. And my wife went, "Where's that?" And I was like, "I just want to be a Chinese guys." She's like, "Well, maybe we won't get to a point of being able to own a Rolls Royce or being able to afford a Rolls Royce. But this would be a really suitable alternative because why not? We're in Dubai."
Yeah.
And actually, there was a real valid point in that, which is that it is still in the affordable range. And you get, and I'm not comparing it to a Rolls Royce. I mean, I haven't been in one I've been in a Rolls Royce. I haven't been in a Oni H9.
So he went and looked it up. He actually went home. He went, right.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
Let me see if I can sell my car. And
Yeah, absolutely. If I can sell all 3 cars, maybe I can get this one instead. Found out. But actually, she did put an idea in my head, which is that as much as initially I was against Chinese cars, cheap reputation, not fun to drive, all of these things, now I've got a seat planted in my head, which is, this is maybe one I would consider.
It's funny you say that because you've got 2 premium cars, so you're kind of like into the premium.
3.
3. You call the Ford a premium car.
It's a Ford Explorer Sport.
Oh, sorry, it's a Sport. Sorry, why didn't you say that before? It was a. So it's actually quite interesting that it's changed your mindset, and I feel like you're not alone in this because people are kind of going, actually, you know what? This is 200,000 dirhams cheaper than buying a BMW or a Mercedes, and I feel like a lot of people are kind of questioning their car choice. Sorry, I don't know. We've got to go down that line.
We question your car choice a lot, but
yeah, that's true. I question my own car choices as well. I question a lot of stuff I do actually.
But I think Sabra, to this point as well. The Arts Club, so an area that we're generally familiar with. I see that as a gauge for what's trending in the market, especially amongst the more well-off, the more affluent, the super rich. Right? That's probably the best way to put it. And so certainly when you see the valets taking the cars in and out, and we work nearby, hence why we will see these cars.
You work in the Arts Club?
I work in the Arts Club.
We're actually the valets.
You're valet.
That's the extent of our expertise in cars.
That's why we've driven every car there is.
We've been found out.
Yes. So did you try to clean my uniform?
Clean the stones out.
It's the usual story then, is Sorry, you were saying. So.
But actually, I've seen a few Oni H9s there as well.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I've been seeing more and more of them over the last... And these are parked next to the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, etc. So you begin to see quite a few of them. And that's very interesting.
And that's actually argument. So one thing with luxury end is not just because in A and in B, because you always wonder... There's a prestige element as well, right? So that is not, especially for customers we're talking about, where they do care about the brands and the badge and all that sort of stuff. And will those Chinese brands be able to compete with that? And if you're saying even now, these cars are actually breaking into that whole area of society, that part of society.
Indeed.
But why not?
What do you think is the driver that's pushing it? Do you think it's a cost?
Well, we already established he's the driver.
Oh, he's definitely, yeah, definitely drive. But in terms of what do you think is the fundamental reason that people are making the shit? Is it the cost? Is that the main reason, or are people kind of saying, actually, some of them actually they don't look? Because I don't know about you guys, but some cars, they look very similar. Like if you see an Audi or BMW, Mercedes, some certain segments, the cars can almost blend. So what do you think is the driver that's pushing people mainly?
I mean, I don't think it is the uniqueness, because to be fair, I've seen some of the Chinese cars. I've literally confused them for an X6 from behind, or a BMW X6 from behind. Some look like in some of the new Audis as well. The light patterns that they have at the back as well, quite similar to other cars. So I don't think it's a unique piece. I think it's much more, it's a no-brainer. It makes sense. You get a lot of kick for your money, and it's not a lot of money comparatively. So then you start questioning, and we all know the argument around some of the German marks, for example, and even Japanese, where the same components are being used in the lower end and the higher end cars. So we all have that, we all are aware of that argument. And here you are with a Chinese brand that's basically saying, well, we're using these components too, or we're using similar components, but we're not charging you for the badge.
Yeah.
So the biggest driver probably then is prices, and not just price from the absolute perspective, but from the perspective of cost efficiency, where it's a sensible choice as opposed to just, it's just cheap. I think a very small portion of the market may be doing it because of that contrarian argument of every other car looks the same. There are so many BMWs and Mercedes on the roads, it becomes so ubiquitous. We're going to go for that slightly different one and be not just like everyone else.
Yeah.
But especially that higher end of the market, it must be a much smaller portion who's thinking, as opposed to thinking, well, this just makes financial sense.
Oh, for that luxury, and maybe it's a view that actually I'm more comfortable with my driver driving this car and driving shit around in this than banging up my roads.
Is that what they said to you? It's So on another fact point, actually, and this is quite an interesting one, actually, and I think there's some perspective to this, so I think that will help. So what we found is China is the largest light car vehicle market in the world, and they sold 25 million units last year. I think it was last year they sold 25 million units. And that accounted for almost 32% of global car sales. Now, to put that into perspective, now remember, 25 million units 1 year. In the UK, they produce 1.3 million units. Now, it's a vast difference in terms of, and to think that they're not branched out as much, like in Europe, in the US, where the markets are massive. Europe, they haven't really hit that yet, but they're still producing 25 million units
of Chinese market
of Chinese cars. Yeah, so these are 25 million Chinese cars that have been made.
Well, they're not questioning the reliability of them then.
Keep replacing them.
Is only got to buy. You got to buy two.
Do you have to get a new one?
Buy one get one free.
Maybe it's cheaper to buy a new one than to replace a gearbox on one.
Do you know what? It's a valid point, because all cars go through that journey where, I mean, you've all been there, where you've bought a car and kind of got to the point of going, how much is the gearbox? I'll just buy another car, because it's disposable, which is not good for ESG and trying to promote sustainability, especially for our future generation, like our researcher.
Very good.
I'm glad to see you using disposable cups for your...
Oh yeah, of course. That is true. Yes, because keep breaking them. It's
Well, you should see. So I think with that's clearly a huge number of cars and huge units. How many of those are because of the domestic market? Of course, the Chinese population itself is so large.
Yes.
Obviously, those are being kept domestically. But if they go and see how many are coming into this region, not just in Dubai, not just in the UAE, but across the whole GCC, it's absolutely, that's still a massive number. But is it just that big because there was the domestic market was so
that's big
compared to the UK and Central? But I mean, just anecdotally from sort of friends of mine with pilots at Emirates and all the sort of different airlines, well, they're saying when they're flying into Shanghai and when they're staying in around the area, the roads are just constant. It's just full of trucks and just transporters, just all around the clock.
Yeah.
pump out and transporting cars all around. And so they're saying if that's any gauge, there is no stopping this market. And clearly, it's now spinning out not just in China, it's now going to the rest of the world. So I think it's only a matter of time before to see how it goes in this region, and it will be in Europe. It will, especially, when you think about sort of the economic situation in Europe, the economic situation in the US, and it comes back to the point you were making earlier about what's really driving this, and it isn't the price point. And I think, I think we should be pretty honest about it. I think that is the biggest pull at the moment is the cost effectiveness, and when the rest of life is becoming so expensive, it makes sense to not tie up all your money and, let's say, a German brand, wherever it might be, which is going to depreciate and you're going to lose a huge amount of money in a very short period of time. But go for one of these brands which is giving you similar levels of quality and comforts. The one, I think, unknown right now, and we were talking about this before, is the longevity. What is the long-term reliability of these cars? Because it's such a new product for us.
Yes.
The warranties are fantastic, almost without exception, which is that what the car makers are standing behind the quality, or is it simply a case of saying, look, we need to give something different in order to attract all these people into the market?
Yeah.
So object.
And maybe even with the warranty, they rely on the fact that you're probably not going to keep it that then.
Yeah.
Because there is a part to that, because if they're churning out so many models and making it so accessible to the wider market, at some point, when I was growing up, my father, that generation, you buy a car, it was with you for minimum 10 years.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
And even at 10 years, it will take something real major for you to decide to give it up and buy a different car.
Yeah.
I think as we sort of progress through the generations and our generation, I would say now the shelf life of a car is 3 to 4 years, unless it's a passion project and something has sentimental value. 3 to 4 years is probably average. Chinese cars are coming in at a point where it is financially viable to upgrade every year and a half, 2 years, perhaps, and maybe they're relying on that fact, because the resale value we know isn't going to be nowhere near the same, right?
Yeah.
As a German mark, for example.
Yeah.
Less sought after. Technology will change rapidly in these as well. Quantity of materials, build quantity, spare parts availability, all of these things come into play. So
I think the point that you made about the second-hand market, it'd be interesting what that's going to be like, because you're right, with like certain brands, you buy a Jaguar, you buy a Land Rover, brand new, and then when you go to sell it 3 years later, you're crying because you just realised, or you're praying it's a mistake, someone's knocked off too many zeros, right? But it'd be interesting to know in 4 years, 5 years, what's it going to be like?
it's like furniture, I guess, right? In some things, when you buy a sofa, you buy something, even however high end it is, within 2 years, well, use, etc. You know you're never going to get anywhere near that price if you decide to sell it on a second-hand market.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at buying a car from another brand, more established brand, typically the minute you take it out off the dealership, you lost about 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
So if you look at the average cost of a car and end up saying that actually my car will depreciate by about 50,000 within the first year, let's just say, it's just cost you 50,000 to buy a car.
In
essence, you can spend the amount that you would lose on another car, rather than spend the total amount. Can make sense?
Yeah, a friend of mine bought a JLR X70 Plus, I think it was.
Still your friend?
He's no longer my after he told me that. And it was something like 60,000 dirhams for a 7-seater. And it's like 7 seats. I was like, has he got aircon on it? Has he got wheels on it? You really questioned, a 7-seater for that much money, I'm surely. But he's got 5 years warranty, 5 years servicing with it as well. And I, we started arguing. I was like,
is it 7 Chinese people or 7?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, no. Well, the back two for sure have to be Chinese. There's no. If you're taller than 5'7", 5'8". But then, to be honest, that's a lot of them small 7-seaters. You've got weighing in 1,000, pounds, whatever it is.
I mean, to be honest, I can't believe he went after Chinese people in terms of height.
Oh yeah, it just
Actually, I meant that they're quite svelte, right?
they are.
They don't have big shoulders.
Yeah, but that,
Let's go with that.
but that's like the Japanese cars. Like some of the cars that they drive, they were like, people were driving. It's quite tight, quite small. It's because the people who were designer built for. That's why I love. Do you know what? That's why I love all these cars, because for me, I get into all of them, and I see people like Sub here sort of crawling into his GT4. Exactly. Yeah, sort of,
He drives with his
what
knees.
does he do with his legs?
Told you before, don't ask.
So I think it's definitely it's one of these things that time will tell, and I don't think that we'll. It's like Kia when Kia first came out, going back to like the warranty. They were the first ones to offer 5 years, then 7 years, then I think 10.
He's not over his Kia.
I love my Kia actually.
Is it actually being sponsored by Kia?
This is not sponsored by Kia. This is not sponsored by. It isn't, but maybe I should contact them to.
The amount we're talking about Kias.
But do you know what? My dad bought a Kia a long 1999.
Okay.
It must be generation. He bought a Kia Mentor, which I think is the weirdest name that you could give a car. But that was fantastic.
Kia Mentor.
Mentor, it's called a Kia Mentor, yeah. And it done. You know what? It was fantastic. Dad loved it. But he went to go and buy a second-hand Vauxhall Astra Cavalier. Can't remember. But he went to buy and the guy
Dash.
no, it's not that old. It was like 99. That sort of Vectra, Vauxhall Vectra.
Yeah, Vauxhall Astra with a digital dash. Like you're almost like a budget night rider.
No, exactly it. So he was meant to buy that, end up buying a new one. But I think it was, and I feel like the Chinese car market is going through the exact same, like almost like a repeat of that, where people are like, why? Why should I go and, why? Yeah, give me some.
And it's interesting then, funny enough, talking about our favourite brands, the knock-on impact on brands such as Kia. Because now Kia and Hyundai, and you look at these Korean brands, and they're incredible. The technology, the quality of the build, the design. They have now moved away from being that de facto budget brand.
Yeah.
So I need some market cream.
Yeah.
And you've got those executive sedans. You've got the 70s and the S&Vs, beautifully made cars.
Yeah.
And maybe that is just a general function of the market. I mean, again, every brand evolves, every area of the market evolves. And so as those brands have become the premium luxury, again, it's Chinese brands, which are filling that void.
Yeah.
Previously, the budget end of the market was serviced by the Korean brand.
But do you think they're filling the void, or do you think it's someone like Hyundai and the Genesis and this sort of approach? There's actually, we know we can't compete with the Chinese when it comes to economies of scale. Industry, 25 million cars, as you mentioned, being produced, right, and being bought locally.
Yeah.
So actually, from a business perspective, I was saying we can't compete with this, so we need to reinvent ourselves, or we need to move forward and offer something different. And the one thing that we know that the Chinese aren't conquering the world with right now is a reputation for long-term Swiss watchmaking type, family-owned businesses with quality and precision as sort of these key core elements, right? And tradition. It's not.
So it's not a Toyota.
Yeah.
It's not,
That's exactly the word I was looking for.
That's what you're looking for, right? It's like
Toyota,
exactly. Yeah. So I think so. We'll close off the discussion on the Chinese cars
with a Toyota.
With a T.
How fitting.
With a Toyota, exactly. But before we do close it off, I'd like to play a little game. Want to play a little game? So we are going to start with how to pronounce the Chinese make brands. I've got it on my laptop.
Can I go first?
You can definitely go first for sure. I want you to go first, actually. We will superpose it somewhere on the screen here.
Okay. All right.
However, I will. Can you guys see that? I know you guys are getting on a bit, but
Is that how it's spelled?
can you see that? It's spelled like that.
And that's how I read it.
Okay, right. Brand name number 1.
You've already said
I've already said it.
You've already said that. But we don't know if you're right.
Say it again.
Hong Chi.
Oh. Okay.
It's gone Hong Chi. Interesting. I mean, I'd read it as Hong Ki, but Hong Chi probably makes more sense. But then why wouldn't it have a CH when it was transliterated?
Because it's in Chinese.
But that's not in Chinese, that's in English.
Have you ever used Google Translate on a Chinese word?
I have, but not car related.
What related then? Okay, no, maybe not. Okay, don't answer that one. Now, number 2.
Hippie.
What?
It's hippie.
That's quite clearly Borat's car. That's
High five! High five! I like you. You like me?
Yes.
is that
This
that
is
close, is it?
this is not. You're not even. You know what? It'd be great if you were close, but you are not even on the
High five.
hiffy.
No,
Actually,
it's H-type, here.
Heifer.
No, not heifer. No. Don't even go that way. Back here. Cars. It's, like, it's pronounced hi-fi.
High five. Okay, I was closer with high five.
Not hiffy or hippie or whatever it was. It's hi-fi.
I
Yeah.
haven't come across that brand yet. To be honest.
Right, so, do you know what? Actually, hi-fi is the luxury segment of the.
Is that right? We're saying
High fidelity. Makes sense.
possibly misspelled, but okay.
Back on to number 3. All right, next one here.
High pie.
Oh, number 3.
American say.
Like all American pasta.
Talking American Pie.
That's a German mark. No?
That definitely sounds German. Weltmeister. Close.
I don't think I can compete with that, to be honest, because that's exactly how I see it as well.
What is it?
I have no idea actually. Can we get our marketing? Yeah, it's pronounced. Oh, okay, so you guys have actually no. Sorry, what I meant to say was market research. Is that correct?
See?
All right,
There we go,
you
with
are
the
correct.
German
Well
accent
done.
and everything.
Thank you. The German accent as well, and okay, and number 4, the last one.
Oh, easy. I used to do martial arts, so we used to shout this out all the time.
What?
Waling, Zingma.
You used to shout that out
you
in
used to
martial arts. What sort of martial arts did you do?
I don't think that's a kind of.
By
By the time you've got that whole thing out, you've probably been beaten up.
No, this was the form. This was the form for the white belt.
Oh, is that
So
right?
these were the
Okay.
6 moves that formed the qualification to get a white belt.
Was you the only student there?
He gave himself the white belt.
I was the master, the teacher, and the student.
In front of a mirror.
Absolutely.
Do wax on, wax off.
You should have seen my nunchucks.
We do not want to see your nunchucks. All right, next one. Right, they're the names. Now, next one is the logos. Right, we're going to start off with the difficult ones first,
Okay.
and then we'll get into. So the very first one, first car brand.
Do you want to try this one?
Well, who cares?
Oh, that's it's exactly what it says on the tin.
It says what it says in the tree, but that's not how it's pronounced.
Why did you struggle with that so much?
He's still learning to read. It's actually pronounced Geely, because it's
It is pronounced Geely.
Geely.
All right,
I think I need to have a word with the manufacturers.
another hard one.
Oh, this is a good one.
I think that's missing one. Missing a word. BYD.
For the longest time, I used to read that as BYO.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean the D. I mean, you can.
It is.
And then
yeah,
it's
it is
missing
a
a
bit.
B.
Yeah.
Well, no, the B's right at the beginning.
No,
Yes.
and another B. BYOB.
Well, yeah, but even if it was just BYO and bring your own something. You can
Yeah.
do whatever you want.
bring your own car.
Do we-
Yeah, thanks. That's what I was trying to do.
For bonus points, do you know what BYD stands for?
I thought it was build your own dreams with an O in the middle.
No, but that's why there's no O in there. That's why it's just build your dreams. Hence
No, but-
BYD.
No, but I'm sure I've seen. Maybe I've
Where
seen a
did you get that?
Chinese knockoff,
The Chinese.
which is build your own
BYOD.
dreams. I have seen BYOD.
It is
Wang Xi
Build Your Own Dream. The next hard one.
It's build your own dreams. So the
It is build your own
circle
dreams.
around is the O.
No, that's not. No, you don't look at Ford and go Ford O. Ford O.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
The next tricky one. By the way, I've noticed with the Euros, BYD's everywhere.
everywhere. They are spending.
They are serious amount of money with the. This must be an old logo. Okay, right. Next one. Next one.
Right now,
Is it a silent?
Huh?
is it
a silent
is it
J?
sun or is
Like
it
a jalapeno?
Is it Spanish? Yeah.
Yes.
Javier.
Hack.
Javier Automobile Corporation.
Jack.
But equally though, is it pronounced? Are they acronyms where you have to say JAC?
Oh.
Jack.
Jack.
Is it Jack? Researcher? Oh my goodness, our
What-
researchers let us down. This is why you don't
Why
hire
is our
16-year-olds.
researcher laughing?
This is why you don't hire 16-year-olds. It's
JAC.
JAC.
Are you being serious?
JAC, totally.
I've been telling everyone, it's GAC. Jack.
Well, that's not even gap. I mean,
Sorry, Jack.
I mean, hack was where we were going.
Okay,
with it.
right, fine. Let's go on to the next one. Next one. Ah.
I know this one.
It's like a Transformers logo, no?
It does actually look like a Transformers logo.
It is actually quite a cool logo, actually.
Yeah.
It's quite... But do you know what? It gives you...
What's in the middle of it? Sorry, my eyesight's failing me here.
And it's also colourblind, which you have to understand.
Oh,
so the
great.
problem
So
is,
you can't actually see
So you
anything.
can't actually see. It's, to him, that just looks like a blob on the screen, which is often how things.
So
I'm
red
looking at the
blob.
screen, not you.
Oh, I see. Fine. I was actually quite confident when I said I know what that is, but now I'm actually doubting myself. But I believe that
Go
is Hongqi. Is that the Hongqi
No,
logo?
that's not Hongqi.
Is that the Hongqi logo?
You're the one who's been researching, looking at potentially buying one.
I'm looking at the lights. The lights are so bright, you can't see the side.
It is a Hongqi, yeah.
Is that Hongqi?
It is a Hongqi, yeah. Okay. Right, the next one.
lights.
The next one.
This is
That's the one. You don't want to let you try this one first.
the GAC.
I think it is the
The GAC.
The GAC.
The GAC. Mine, the GAC.
Who's mine? The GAC.
It's GAC.
The GAC. Again, now is it GAC or is it GAC?
Oh, researcher?
It's GAC.
GAC.
Oh, right.
Oh, I've been just
He's
telling.
gacking and
I'm
jacking.
gacking,
and
exactly.
He's jacking and gacking all over the place. I mean, this is just unbelievable.
And hacking.
On that note, we're going to the next one. Right.
It's like Deutsche Bank.
It's Deutsche Bank.
They started making cars. I mean, like, they had to do something.
They've got to diversify, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a B
100%.
and
Right.
a P together, no?
There's a. It's not a B. No, it's not actually.
B and P.
It's not B and. Yeah, it's not. It's not.
This one.
No.
I've never seen.
Do you know what? I haven't seen one on the road yet, but
Okay.
but I have seen quite a few of them for sale. That's but I've seen quite a few of them like already coming up for sale. I've seen them in AutoMarket actually.
Is that right?
If you go down to AutoMarket, you see.
So you're trying to tell us that AutoMarket is selling cars off the market? Exclusive rights to cars that aren't even available in the US?
No, you can buy it. I don't think I've seen one on the road, meaning like it's not gone past me yet, but it's probably on the road. Not that I sit down all day and going. All right, yeah, okay, I'll do. All right. So this is a Zeekr.
Oh, is that right?
It's called a Zeekr. 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 Yeah. Have you seen it? There you go.
The name on the road.
Okay, yeah. So Zeekr.
These are the ones with the really sharp angles to them.
Yes,
So yes,
yeah.
I've
They
seen.
look very cool, actually.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
actually good-looking cars.
Funny enough, I saw a Zeekr 001. I don't know why it's named 001, which is like this podcast. It's 001. 001, first one, right? All right, next one.
No, that's your format. Yeah.
That's a
Oh, I know
Oh.
this one. But
Upside down Acura.
upside down.
Now we know that you know, there's a lot
design
of
Honda.
yeah, there's a lot of IP rights being stolen.
Uh-huh.
Now the only reason I know this because a garage whose founders I'm quite close with. They are, I believe, the exclusive distributors. This is Changan, isn't it?
It is, yeah, fantastic, yeah. And they are, I believe, they're a premium, right?
They're very nice. Yeah, they seem very well made. It seems luxurious. I thought actually.
Very good. Quite impressed actually with that. Well done. This one.
that's an on button.
off, on,
Yes.
off.
That's
Actually, no, I knew you'd say that.
Off.
It isn't an
Okay,
on-off.
on.
Let's give you a clue. It's not an on-off button.
It's not an on and off button.
It's not, and it's, but it has some relation to on and off as well.
almost radioactive.
Is it a Wi-Fi that's broken?
Ooh, you know what? You're close.
Is it Xiaomi?
No, what? Why to what?
At some point, Xiaomi.
Is that something to do with your Wi-Fi?
All I know is Xiaomi is a Chinese brand that started out. Maybe it started out. I only know it as a result of electronics, right? They make little Wi-Fi routers and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Routers, goodness me, I'm married in America.
Yeah, it's routers.
Routers.
I know
Routers.
Terrible. Anyway, so Xiaomi have started making cars as well, right? Now, I assumed at some point there'd have to have a logo, and I thought if it wasn't going to be an on-off sign, then it might have been a broken Wi-Fi.
Researcher, what's the answer?
I actually know the answer to this
Oh,
one.
hang on, the host note.
I actually know the answer. This is called a hi-fi.
This is hi-fi.
This is what I said. When he said Wi-Fi, I was like, oh, you got it.
That's what he meant. Okay,
Yeah.
this is hi-fi.
That's why I say this is hi-fi, yeah.
Interesting.
And then this one.
Knockoff Chrysler, no?
Do you know what?
This is French, because didn't we just do this one a while ago? Isn't that simple for Geely? I thought that was a symbol for Geely. Now, I might be completely wrong, but
Do you know what? I think you might be right.
I think I might be right.
I think you might be right. Do you know what? I'm gonna check. Do you know what? It's been looking to buy one probably. So let's have a look. It is Geely.
It is Geely. There we go.
And, another interesting fact.
It's a trick question.
It is a trick question. Very good. I knew that. I meant that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the interesting facts you're about to tell us?
I was just about to say that Geely, funny enough, they've been around since 1986.
They've been around for a very long time.
Comparatively, in Chinese years.
It's in
Chinese cars.
It's not in
Chinese years. No.
Talking of years, actually, if I look at some of I've got a list of like dates of some cars, when they've been sort of.
So you've had some dates in some cars? Or?
No, not. I've not gone on dates in the cars. I meant when manufacturers have opened. I've got not a list. I've got a few of them here. So the reason why I want.
I don't know what's
this is a list I've been given by a researcher. Okay, so anyway,
so what is this list?
What's interesting is Chanjan have been around since 1862.
Chan.
Yeah.
Chanjan.
Yeah, I think it's a typo, but apparently it's not. Been around since 1862.
Before there were cars.
Yeah.
I don't get cars invented.
I don't get what this. Maybe they made other machinery.
They must have made.
They must have done, right? It's so that's
Is this a bit like the comparative to Lamborghini and tractors?
potentially, yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Nokia and forestry, right? Nokia used to be in forestry before they turned to mobile phones.
Utterly useless knowledge.
I had no. Why do you even know that? Anyway, so
He might have made it up.
and on at the other end of the scale, you've got Zeekr, which have only been around since 2021.
Zeekr's only 2021. Interesting.
In 3 years, they've produced cars like. And
Zeekr's not a joint venture or anything, is it?
Zeekr, I don't know actually. It might be. And the last one, sorry, it's not Transformers before you ask.
Okay.
It looks like a BMW key fob.
It does look like
BMW key fob.
It does actually.
Before you modified yours.
Yeah. He spray painted his key fob.
It's a fake carbon fibre inlays.
No, that's how it came. Factory.
Look at
Factory stock.
It's not factory.
I'll give you a clue.
Yeah. China is good for more than just Chinese cars.
Exactly. Anyway,
I know where he's going with that.
yeah, no, do I. So anyway,
Right,
give me a clue. Starts with B.
Carbon fiber.
B. Starts with B.
Best tune.
That's it. Well done.
Best tune.
Why did you say like that?
Sorry,
That's East London. He's East London just come out. Yeah, he just.
Well, take the boy out of the walking stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that note, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on our first podcast. Honestly, it's been incredible having you guys on board. Nobody swore. I'm really impressed with that. And you, OMS hasn't touched you throughout the whole podcast, which again, I'm very impressed with that as well.
I mean,
the red is just the price fit.
yeah. No, thank you very much for having us on.
It's been emotional.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, gents.